Hello and welcome to another printmaking activity. Today we're going to explore block printing. Block printing can be done on paper, card, wood and even fabric. So we're going to take that session and turn our simple techniques into a no-sew hand printed cushion, just like this one. So let's get going. Block 1 is a cockle shell, and to create that block you will need a jam jar lid, some glue, some pens and a takeaway pizza tray. You can also use takeaway trays from chips and other takeaways, as long as they're made of that expanded polystyrene that you often find. So that you can see the polystyrene tray, I'm going to place a red piece of foam underneath, just makes it easier to see. To draw on it, I'm going to take this cockle shell design, and all you need to do is take a pen and press down firmly and draw a line. Once you've drawn your design, you can cut out your shape with a pair of scissors. Once your stamp is dry, you might like to test it out. Now normally what I do is I use a foam roller or a printer's roller. But to test it out, we can just use an ordinary paintbrush. And what I do is I take some acrylic paint, it's a nice stiff paintbrush is best actually, and then I just dab it on. So just stencil brush. An old worn out brush is just ideal. Okay, so that's block 1. Now to block 2. So for block 2 you're going to need some pens, some craft foam, glue and just an ordinary sheet of cardboard. Mount card will also work just as well. Usually begin by drawing your idea with pencil. You can trace it, and I'm going to show you how to trace the image elsewhere. So just draw your picture on softly with pencil, and then when ready, when you've finished your drawing, you go over it with a biro and you press down quite firmly. Press down nice and firmly, and you'll find that it indents really well. I find that a finer pen works best. The next step is to cut it out. Take a pair of scissors and cut out your drawing. Now you can actually just cut out the whole square, use the whole square. You don't have to cut out the shape of the drawing, it's really dependent on your design. Make sure you go right to the edge with the glue. For stamp number 3, I'm going to suggest some different things that you might find around your home. So we have some card, some string, some bubble wrap, a washing up sponge, and there's quite a few other things that we can suggest today. Begin with the washing up sponge. I've got a piece of card here. Just an ordinary piece of cardboard that's off some packaging from something that arrived in the post. And then I'm going to take a bit of sponge. This is flat washing up sponge. You can actually cut out a range of different sponges and make different effects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some seagrass. Now seagrass is something that you will find in Morecambe Bay. and it's very important for wildlife. So the reason you cover the whole of the card with the PVA is so that if you get any excess ink in places where you don't want to, it's easy to wipe off. And I suggest that you actually cover the whole of the card with the PVA. And for my next trick, I'm going to take a piece of recycled card and I'm going to glue onto it a piece of bubble wrap. So I need to measure the bubble wrap, keep it bubble side up, like so. Cut it to size and then glue it onto the card. And make sure that you cover the whole surface of the card. I've prepared some acrylic paint which I'm going to use for printing with. Now this acrylic paint is just ordinary regular acrylic paint. However, I have mixed it with a little bit of medium. You can print on fabric without any use of medium, and that's absolutely fine. And it's great for experimenting and playing around with a bit of fabric printing. But you may want to add a bit of medium because the medium will make it fix and stay inside the threads of the fabric much better. Mediums cost in the region of about £10. However, you can make your own. I've made my own from a combination of 10mm of vinegar, 10mm of glycerin and 20ml of water. Mix it up. Put it in a glass jar and away you go. All you need is a few drops, blend it with your acrylic paint, making sure it's not too thin, and then you can roll it onto your roller and print with your design. So roll it onto your roller, roll it onto your block. So I turn my little printing stamp upside down. It's a good idea to have something underneath, some newspaper, some foam, maybe a towel. A little bit of something underneath will actually help it make it easier to print. I give my stamp a little bit of a wiggle, 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 and there we have it, it's printed. So having made our lovely set of stamps, I'm now ready to print onto the fabric. I do recommend testing out your design on some paper. Newspaper is absolutely fine. Just some cheap scrap paper, just test out your design first before you decide to put it onto your fabric. What I have done here is I have a cushion, but you could also print a pillow with a very similar technique. I'm going to use a no-sew technique, and this is ideal for creating a quick cushion that you might want to use outside, given that we'll all try our best to be sitting outside and spending some time over this summer outside. We might just want a cushion, especially if we're out for a while. So this cushion measures 40 centimetres by 40 centimetres, and that means that my fabric needs to measure double that and a little bit more. So what I've actually got is a piece of fabric which in length is 100 centimetres and in width is 50 centimetres. There's my fabric, which I've printed on earlier. You can see the shells. and I've folded it in half, and as you can also see, I've put some masking tape on it. This is bright green. You don't need bright green, it's just so you can see it clearly. So I've divided it up into sections, and that will make it easier for me to print. You don't have to do that, you could do something a bit more random. So underneath it, I'm also going to put something. Now, folded towel will be fine, something spongy. I'm using the craft foam that I used earlier to make some of the stamps. That's going underneath the area that I'm printing. I'm going to begin by printing with my bubble wrap. Okay, so that's bubble wrap that's been stuck onto some card, and we made that a little bit earlier on. So if you want to make a stronger image, then I recommend using something like a spoon, a wooden spoon, to rub it. It's not so crucial with this particular design, which is very easy to print with. Step 2, we're going to print using the seagrass stamp, which is this one, and you'll see I used it already today. So here's the seagrass stamp. I've prepared some acrylic paint, and this time I've just added some yellow to the blue to create a nice bright green, which will work to represent the seagrass. So I'm rolling that, and there you have some. Okay, next I'm going to print the fish, which we made with the foam earlier on. Again, I've prepared this time some red, a little bit of yellow. This is a sea bass, by the way. Sea basses aren't usually this nice red colour, but you can make your sea bass, or indeed whatever animal like you like, whatever colour you like. So, and we're going to print that on here, just the same as with the others. We're now going to turn the printed fabric into a simple no-sew cushion. So I begin by taking my fabric and folding it over, leaving just 1 centimetre at the end. We'll take one side and we'll fold it over. I'm going to fold it over approximately 1 centimetre. And there we have it, 2 no-sew hand-printed cushions, ready for me to take out and sit with in the sunshine.